Hello, my little filmer dudes. My name is Ivan Montero. Thank you for joining me in my journey to watch every movie ever created. Not really, but we are gonna get close. March. That's literally the only thing I have on my notes. March went by so quickly, but at the same time so slowly because I had so much going on. I went from 0 jobs to 3 for just a brief 2 weeks, and that was a lot in of itself. But I mean, I had to do what I had to do, and then because of that and because of allergies and just overstressing, I got sick. And then after that, my parents visited, and then I didn't really have much time to edit the 2 videos that I actually... Did I film 2 videos, or did I just happen to have one already filmed? And honestly, I didn't really have that much time to watch movies or to go to the movie theater to watch movies, which is a shame because I paid for it. Whatever. But yes, I've only watched 4 movies in March. And I have made Letterboxd reviews for each of these, so you can find those reviews on my Letterboxd at Filmerdude24, and you can also find me and my other social medias at Filmerdude24, and all of those social media links are in the description below. But I do post written reviews on Letterboxd and serialized very often, way more than I do video reviews, because video reviews are harder. But I try, because it honestly gives me... I don't know. Alright, coming in at number 4 is One Life at a 6.7. This one is directed by James Ha, and it's starring Jonathan Hopkins and Johnny Flynn as the same character, just 50 years apart. So this movie does have 2 storylines taking place kind of at the same time, but not really, because one happened before and one happened later. It's confusing, but it's not. Like I said in my Letterboxd review, and let's see how many times I can say Letterboxd review in this video, I almost feel like this movie didn't necessarily need to exist. At least not in the way that it was presented. I almost feel as if Anthony Hopkins was only added to this film to add some sort of star power to it, because I mean, I don't think his story at least was compelling enough to have a star at least of this caliber. So we're jumping to and fro from young Nicky to old Nicky, and old Nicky to young Nicky. Old Nicky is now referred to as Sir Nicky because he's older, he's been knighted. But again, I don't really want to give away the main things about old Nicky's storyline, but it's so unrelatable and uncompelling. I think, I don't know, maybe that's just me. The young Nicky storyline, I was like, I want to see more of. I kind of want to stick to this, but the movie is insanely depressing. It's so depressing, and honestly, I feel like Anthony Hopkins' Sir Nicky was only there to be able to cut away from the depression just a little bit, but at the same time, I'm like hooked. So now we have this speed bump, and I'm like, okay, maybe I wanted to cry, Sir Hawes. Maybe I wanted to cry. I don't know, because this is a depressing movie, and I get that it was such a depressing time, but because it serves as a very rough watch. So just be warned. It's good, I guess. The younger side is, the older side is okay, but the end was pretty nice. I mean, everybody gives compelling performances. It's just, I've seen the end, the actual clip, the real clip, and why not watch the real clip? I don't know, bro. I don't know. But I give One Life a 6.7. Coming in at number 3 is Damsel at a 7.2. Directed by Juan Carlos Fresnadillo. What's hilarious is that I'm fluent in Spanish. And this movie stars Millie Bobby Brown, Ray Winstone, Nick Robinson, Angela Bassett, nobody knows why, and Sheree Adashlu. Initially, I gave this movie a 7.4, but the more I thought about it, the more comfortable I felt landing at a 7.2 instead. I really like the concept of a literal damsel in distress trying to survive and take revenge on those who've tricked and wronged her, but that isn't what this movie is exactly. This movie is so close to being brilliantly genius. It's just... it's funny. in a good way, in a good cheesy way. Were there many moments where I was like, oh, that was a cute idea? The issues with the movie, therein lies with the fact that this movie feels like it's checking things off of the fairy tale list. Like, yep, we got a misogynistic, mysterious, dark, cult-like family. We got Angela Bassett. We got a damsel. Yes, we got a damsel. Is she in distress? We got a dragon. She's in distress. Give her a sword. Did we explain that? Not well. Why this movie isn't about revenge, solely about revenge, I do not know. It's almost frustrating because Millie Bobby Brown, I feel like, only gets hired to scream because that's pretty much the only thing that she does in everything that she is in. She just screams. No! No! How does it feel to be typecasted for your screaming, Millie? I joke, but she actually did a really good job delivering her lines and being Elodie, the next in line of this sick family ritual that makes no sense at all if you think about it to any degree. But I got to say, the dragon fight at the very end, which actually also makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, but that final scene, it's kind of cool and makes the whole movie kind of worth it. But I mean, man, what a slow build-up. In the end, I give Damsel a 7.2 because it is a good watch. I do recommend it. It's more of a palate cleanser type of movie. It's one of those, like, you don't really know what to watch and you don't really want to invest too much. You don't want to risk too much. This is that type of movie. It's safe. It's okay because you know what you're getting into. It's a Netflix movie, let's be real. Coming in at number 3 is Ricky Stanicky with a 7.4. Directed by Peter Farrelly. I'm really bad with names. Starring Zac Efron, Andrew Santino, Jermaine Fowler, and John Cena. And the writers are abundant. Why do I mention that there's so many writers all of a sudden? Well, it's because I feel like Ricky Stanicky is a good example of a project that could have been better but wasn't because there was too many cooks in the kitchen. As the old adage goes, 6 people are credited as writers on this film, so they had to have contributed a big part of the story. And there's nothing wrong with having that many writers on your television or your streaming show, because technically it's longer form and you need multiple writers, you need multiple directors, because not one person can do 23 episodes, 10 episodes, 16 episodes. Take your pick of however many episodes. Usually there's more than one writer and director for a show. However, movies are continual. There are no breaks, there are no intermissions. You just sit and you watch. At least that's how, going to the movies are. If you're watching a movie at home, you can pause it like I did, because I definitely had to pause it at certain times. My point is, having so many writers means you are having multiple hands, multiple styles, multiple tastes for your movie. So then your movie then feels a little bit flimsy. It feels a little bit tonally all over the place, and the humor doesn't quite always land when it honestly should have landed. I've seen Ricky Stanicky twice, and I would definitely watch it again, but I would have to watch it with the bros. Personally, I don't feel like this movie is good enough to watch alone, and I have. And when I saw the movie on my own the first time, I didn't like many aspects of the movie, but then when I watched it with a friend, sure, I still didn't like the dog scene and the duck, but everything else I was like, oh, I mean, hey, it's funny, it's comedy, and I enjoyed it because he was enjoying it, and I was enjoying it with him, and I think that's the main thing. Part of me thinks that this, at very early stages, was pitched as a streaming show, hence why there was so many writers for this movie. That is the only thing. But I don't think I can give this movie anything higher than a C or a 7.4, but that is what Ricky Stanicky gets from me. And coming in at number 1 is the American Society of Magical Negroes at an 8.2. Written and directed by Kobe Levy and starring Justice Smith, David Alan Grier, Nicole Baer, Ann Lee Bogan, Drew Tarver, and Aisha Hinds. Listen, I like this one. I thought this movie was hilarious. I thought it was spot on. I honestly relate with Justice Smith's character a lot, because if you knew me in person, you would know that I call myself brown in skin only. Y'all, I'm insanely white. I don't understand how I grew up in a Hispanic household, still speak fluent Spanish, and yet my favorite foods are Italian pastas, Chinese food, Panda Express, and Whataburger. Seriously, I am the least Hispanic you'll ever meet. Ask anyone I know. They'll verify I am super white. So honestly, I very much relate with Justice Smith's character because of who he is. And as a public relations degree holder, this movie was basically made for me. I do see where there are cracks in this movie, and some may call it woke or racist because the movie doesn't really focus on the magical side of the magical Negroes, although I do wish we would have seen more of the magic being used. But narratively, I do understand why there wasn't more magic being used, as there were consequences for the magic being used for personal gain, which is basically any time a white man isn't involved. Still, I think I would have liked there to have been more liberation with that, but I think that's a part of the point. The point isn't the magic, the point is the fact that they're using that magic for purposes that are just not modern, that are not good anymore, that are no good for anyone, not for one side or the other. That's the main point, is that they're using these abilities wrongly, and they think they are doing it correctly, but they're not, and Justice Smith's character tries to point that out. Honestly though, I thought this movie was heading in a different direction than it did, and the movie kind of just abruptly ends. No lie, the movie just ends. It says, okay, now I think we're done being a movie. We have said our piece and now we're gonna go, and it's a little jarring, but I mean, they do set up a sequel and I am excited for the sequel, but I mean, they need to do a little bit better. Kobe Levy should probably get a writing team to help with this. Is when you should get a writing team when you don't know how to write the best movie. I'm not saying that that the movie isn't good. I think the movie is pretty funny. I think the movie is pretty spot on. I just think that the issues with the movie is that the movie feels a little too safe throughout. So much so that it just starts to feel a little uncomfortable for someone who doesn't understand what's happening in the movie. I fully understand what's happening in the movie, and I fully liked it. I enjoyed watching what the director had to say. But once again, I think if we had that extra 15 minutes to explain a little bit of the ending, or if we changed the ending a little bit, then I think it would have been better. But I mean, hey, I don't think we're gonna get a sequel just because nobody liked this movie, but that's fine. I guess it's okay. I give The American Society of Magical Negroes an 8.2 out of 10. So those were all of the movies I saw in the month of March. Let me know what you thought, if you saw these movies or if you saw more movies. Let me know in the comments below. My social media links are also in the description below, so I will see you next time. You've just been Montified.